Hello and welcome to our Revit tutorial. I'm Justice. In this tutorial, I will be explaining every single thing you need to know about the Revit user interface. Every single thing you need to know about the tools you'll be using in Revit. So let's just jump straight into it. So this is Revit. I'll be making use of Autodesk 2024. That's Autodesk Revit 2024. And then I'll be opening a new project to explain the user interface. So to do that, you need to click on New, and then you will be asked to pick a template file that you'll be using for your work. It's either you use the multi-discipline or the metric discipline. But for this project, I'll be showing you how to use the metric system of templates. So let's just go straight. So this I'm going to choose here. In this place you have all the English Imperial templates you can use for your project, but we just want to use the metric. So we use this drop down icon to go back, and then we'll go to and find English alone, not English Imperial. Here we have English. We'll double click on it to open. Then we're going to use just the default metric for this tutorial. So we'll click on default metric and then we'll open. If you notice, initially we had two of these, the metric multidiscipline and the Imperial multidiscipline, but because we have chosen the default metric when we browsed, we can now select that and then we'll use it. Finally, before you click OK, make sure this is on project and not a project template, so you don't end up creating a template. So we just want to create a project. So we'll click OK, and then it takes us to the Revit user interface, where we can now start every single thing we need to do in our work. It's going to take a little bit of time to load, and then voila, we are in our user interface. So this is Revit in total. In this side you have the properties bar, in the left hand side you have the property bar, then in the right hand side we have the project browser. Now this can equally be changed. It can be anywhere depending on your personal preference or how you want to set up your own Revit. Now if you notice, I have my background, the background of my Revit user interface is black. You can equally change that to be white in your own. So how do you do that if you want it to be white or if you want it to be black? So to do that, we just need to click on File, and then we'll click on Options. So once we do that, you go to Colors, and then we have the UI active theme to be dark, so you can equally change this to be white, but I'll just leave it as dark. So to do that, I'm going to now be explaining every single thing you need to know about the user interface. And because we use the default metric, it basically comes with two levels. You have the level 1 and the level 2, as you can see in your project browser. Now in your project browser is where you see every single thing that concerns your levels, be it your floor plan levels, your ceiling levels. You see your elevations, your legends, your schedules. Every single thing you need to know and use is going to be in the project browser. Now the property browser is now going to come with, that is here, is now going to come with stuffs that will have to do with whatever you have clicked or whichever view you are in. So I'm just going to show you an example of the property browser. Now because we're in the level 1, you see the property browser in the level 1 is using the scale of 1 to 100. I can decide to change that here to any scale I want. I can decide to turn on the underlay or turn off the underlay. We'll be exploring more tools as time goes on. Now let's say I click something, any of these 4 things you're seeing here are the 4 elevations that Revit has that you'll be using in your project. Now these 4 elevations are, here we have the north, the east, the south, and the west. They are arranged in the 4 cardinal points, the typical 4 cardinal points we already know. Now let's say I click one of these elevations. If you check your property browser, it has already changed to elevation, building elevation, and then you can now change anything you want to change here in the elevations by editing type and then changing everything. If I click on anywhere to on select, it's going to change back to floor plan, but if I click on it again, it is going to change back to building elevation. So anything or any setting I want to make to any particular thing in Revit will be changed here in the property browser. Can edit type and then edit any particular thing I want to edit here. While in your project browser, you can now go to any level you want to go to or any new view you want to go to. So let's say I want to go to the south elevation. I'll just double click on south here, and then I'm in the south elevation. Now initially, if you remember, I said something about the elevation, the 2 levels the default metric template comes with. So these are basically the 2 levels, the level 1 and the level 2. Now what are these levels? These levels define the heights, the various heights of your building that you'll be needing in order for you to actually model what you want to design. So this can equally be changed. You can either add more to this, or you can delete even the ones you have. So let's say you only need the level 1, and then you can click on level 2 and then you can delete. So it's going to ask you this question, you can just click OK and then it goes out. But we don't want to do that, we just want to leave them the way they are. You can equally add levels by clicking on level under here. Make sure you are in architecture and then click on level. If you click on level, automatically you can see your cursor starts to draw, so you can decide to place the level anywhere you want and then you can draw. Nearly that, you can see a line, a dotted line showing you that okay, they are in the same line, so you can then click and then you can escape and escape. So a level has been created and automatically Revit will name the new level you've created level 3, because it is going to name with the numbers it already has, level 1, level 2 and then level 3. Under these levels you can see the various heights of this level. So this is 4 meters above level 1, which is 4000 mm, because we're using the default metric system. So all of our dimensions are going to be in metric system, not imperial. So we're going to be working with meters and millimeters and centimeters. We cannot work with feet because of we're not using imperial, so we'll not work with feet, inches and the rest of them. So you can either reduce these levels to anyhow you want by just clicking on the level and then clicking the height below it, which is 4000. Then I can change this to 3 meters and then it goes down. Can equally change this as well, let's say 6 meters or 5 meters and then it goes down. So you can equally rename the levels by clicking on the level and then clicking on the level again. It's going to allow you to name the level. So let me just call this GL. So NGL stands for natural ground level, and then Revit will ask me to confirm the level rename that I've done. If I would like to rename corresponding views, I can just click yes, and then all the views that are normally had level 1, such as in the ceiling level and in the floor plan level, will change to NGL. So of course I want that, so I'm just going to click on OK. I'm click on yes, and then it changes. So you can see NGL named here, equally named in the floor plan levels and in the ceiling levels. So I can now decide to change this particular one to, let me call this ground level. Normally I like to use 1 and then a little bit of a gap to name my levels. So I can call this the ground level, and I can now enter. It's still going to ask me the same message, the same question. I might just click on don't show this message again, so that anything I click on is going to just automatically do on its own. So of course I want this to be this way, but the natural ground level is the typical ground level we all work on, and then the ground level is kind of the damp-proof course in the DPC level. So of course no DPC level is 3 meters above, especially unless you are doing a special design where you really have the DPC level very high from the natural ground level. But of course I want my own to be very low, so I can just click on this and then let me just say it is 450 above the NGL. Now one thing is you can no longer see the NGL and the natural ground, the ground level and the NGL, they are kind of conflicting each other, sorry. So to make sure that I can still see my levels very well, I'll click on the natural ground level, and then close to my natural ground level you're going to see an icon here that allows you to split. We call that the add elbow. So I can just add an elbow to this and then voila, it drops down, so I can still see my natural ground level and then the ground level as well. So let's say I want to leave this at as for the level 3, I might want to leave it at let's say 3.4 meters, or I can just type 3400. So it drops down. So I can now rename this level 3 to anything I want. Let's say I call this the roof level. Okay, so it enters. No message again is coming out because I clicked. I don't want to show this. I don't want to see this message again. So this is just the proper way for you to set your levels depending on what you want to design. So if you want to design a duplex, you can have more levels. Of course, the first floor level, then before you get your roof, you can equally decide to add maybe a ceiling level if you want, or a level for your roof fascia. If you are designing with a roof fascia, you can decide to have as many levels as you can, depending on the design you want to do. So let's say you want to do a high rise, of course you'll be needing more levels for the high rise. So but this is just the typical way for you to arrange your levels in Revit. So that's that for levels. So I'm going to now show you what you need to do in the Revit user interface. So all the Revit user interface is very simple and arranged in a way that you can be able to use them as quickly as you can, and they all come with most of the tools you'll be working with all have shortcuts. I really prefer using these shortcuts in Revit because it makes my work more faster, and then I'm going to work much faster than coming back to click every single thing I want to use. I just use these shortcuts to work with any tool I want to use at a time. So I'm going to be introducing you to all the tools you'll be using in Revit. So this is the wall tool. It allows you, as you can see, for you to pick various types of wall you want to use in your Revit work. So this is the door tool. It allows you to pick a door and then input the doors in plan, and of course when the door is placed in plan, it's also placed in your elevations and in your 3D, because Revit is a BIM software, so it produces both it allows you to draw in 2 dimensions, and then it helps you to change it in equally 3 dimensions. So when you draw in plan, you are equally drawing in elevations and then in your 3D model as well. So this is the window, and then this is the components tool that allows you to pick components either from the template or for you to import a new component into your Revit project. So this is the column for structural support and load bearing elements. This is the roof, the ceiling. Then we have the floor, the cutting system. Sometimes you want to do really cool stuffs where you'll be using the cutting system to actually draw, and maybe cutting walls and all those stuffs. So this is the cutting grid system. The cutting grid system all at a time or most times works with the cutting system, so they work hand in hand. Then these are the mullions. They allow you to select mullions and then place them on a cutting grid. So if you have a grid, you can now place a mullion in the grid. So this is the railing, what we call the balustrade, the combination of the handrail, the rails, and whatsoever you have. So this is the ramp, allows you to create these little gentle ramps for the disabled or in general purpose, for people in general purpose to be able to access your spaces, your interior spaces, without having to use a stair. So this is the stair, allows or connects you from one level to another level, or connects you to the exterior part of the building to the interior part of the building. So this is the tool. Now the model text allows you to add a 3D text to the model, such as just like you can see in the picture. So you have a 3D, you can write something and then you pick a plane, and then that stuff you've just written will be changed to a 3D text. So this is the model line, allows you to create a line that will equally exist in your 3D space and in all the views of the project. This is the group model, where you create an element and then you group them together so they can act as one single group, so you can easily move them all around. So this is the room tag, allows you to create a room model such as elements, ceilings, and the rest of them. So this is the room separator, where you don't have any rooms, any room that is not closed, the room separator allows you to close them up, and then you can still pick them using the room tag. This is the room tag. You select a room and then you can tag it and name it. These are the area tags, the wall openings, the vertical openings, the dormers, the shafts, and all you have. Now these are the grids. These grids allows you to place columns in a grid line. So you have a wall, and then these grid lines now acts as like a guidance or a reference line where you can now place your walls in them. It allows you to have more walls that are well aligned to each other. Now this set is what we call the set work plane. So if I click on this drop down icon, you're going to see two things. So it's either you set a work plane that is defined, or you pick a plane. So any of them, what this tool helps you to do is it helps you to select a particular surface for you to work on, and then when you draw whatever you want to draw in that surface, it's what you just drew will stay exactly in that surface. That's just what this set tool is there for, to do in Revit. So that's basically what you need to know in the architecture tab of Revit. We have the structural tab as well, where you have the beam, the columns, the wall, the trusses, the beam system, the slabs. Then you equally have the steel section, where you will have the bolts, the welders, and all that. Then we have the precast, where you have reinforcements systems majorly for piping. You are going to be seeing your pipe, your elbows, and the rest of them. Most times I actually love using this system part in Revit because it helps me to actually create pipes in Revit when I'm through with my 3D modeling, and then at the end of the day I'll end up appreciating this piping work. So this insert tool helps you to input whatever you want to input into your Revit system, be it a link topography from a CAD file. You can equally link it on import a CAD file, that's an AutoCAD file. You can even import a picture, a decal, and whatever you actually want to import can even be imported here using the insert tab. So in the Annotate tab is one of the tools that is being used most often because it allows you to create detail lines, it allows you to create a text, it allows you to create regions, it even allows you to create to name categories, put a color field legend to your work. So this tag is actually really well used in Autodesk Revit. So the Analyze tool is a tool that you end up using when you want to kind of look at your panel schedules, your quantity, your schedules for quantities and all that. So this just helps you to do all that. Now massing and site helps you to create your site, be it a topo solid. If you want to create a site that is sloped, you use the topo solid tab, you create a site that is a bit sloped where you have your contour lines and all that. And the site component allows you to add specific components such as trees, parkings and all that. Now the parking component allows you to pick a particular car park for your topography, be the 90 degrees and all that degrees for car parks. The property line allows you to draw a property line in plan view, and then you end up following that property line in your 3D model and when you create your site, as you can see in the picture. So it helps you to actually draw this either by sketching or by entering distances and bearings. When you've gotten a site from a surveyor, you use the entering distances and bearings. Let me just show you that. So when you click on the property line, it's going to ask you to create the property line by either entering distances and bearings or by creating a sketch. Now when you click on entering distances and bearings, it's going to bring out a table for you where you will now impute the surveyor's plan that he has given you, the details, the distances, the bearings and all that. So with time we will get to explore with this tool more better. But when you click on it, you can now create by sketching. It's just going to allow you to sketch whatever you want to sketch. So let's say I have a site that is 24 by 16 meters. So this just helps me when I escape, and then if I finish this, you will see a property line. So this is a property line by entering sketches. So this is what the property line is going to look like. So in place mass and place mass are tools that I love using when I want to create a mass that I want to use for a work. We'll get to explore with this tool with time. And the Collaborate tab allows you to either show your recent histories. You can equally share your monitor, you can check your interface and all that. And the View tab allows you to make specific views or go to specific views. So such as the 3D view, you can drop down this and then you go to, and you can see either you create a camera, you create a walkthrough, or you just go to the default 3D. So I can click on the default 3D and then it's going to take me to the default 3D. So this is the default 3D. So this allows you to see a 3D model of what you've created. So you can just see it here and then you can rotate it all around. So this can equally help you to rotate. That's just the default 3D. Now, with time, we'll be explaining how to use the camera view and all that, and even the walkthrough view. So this helps you to create a section of your work. So you cut a section and then you can see through a section. This allows you to create a call out from a view. These are your plan views that you already have: the reflected ceiling, the structural plan, the region, the area plan, and whatever plan you have that you'll be using in your project browser. So these are the legends, your schedules. This allows you to pick in a new sheet and then bring in that new sheet into Revit. So if I click on OK now, there's a new sheet, a default sheet from Autodesk Revit. So you can now place any drawing you've done into this sheet. So that's how you bring in sheets into Revit. So with time we'll be exploring more with all the user interfaces you need to use, and every single thing you need to know about the user interface. With time you'll get to know them. So this Manage tab helps you to pick materials or parameters that you want to use. You can equally link your project or what you've been doing to Dynamo. If it's a big project that you've been doing that has a whole lot of parametrics, you might want to link it to the Dynamo, and then it will now help you to make your Dynamo or your parametric designs in Dynamo look more better. So talking about materials, Revit has a whole lot of materials that you can work with. So I just clicked on the material tab, and then it's going to bring out a whole lot of materials for me. These are just the materials in the material browser. They are so much that you cannot even exhaust them. So if I feel like there's no that the material I'm looking for is not actually here in the material browser, all I need to do is to click here. That allows me to open the asset browser, and then you can still see a whole lot of materials still in your asset browser. These materials are categorized under appearance. So let's say I'm looking for something, I can double click on appearance to open like I just did here, and then I can now find what I'm looking for. So let's say I'm looking for a metal material, I can click on metal, and then I have a whole lot of metal materials here, a whole lot of metal materials that I can work with in Autodesk Revit. So that's the material browser that you can also use in your view tab. So if I go to my add-ins, the add-ins allows me to convert my ROFA to can convert the file and equally transmit models. So the modify tab allows you to now modify anything you've drawn. You can now modify it. It has a whole lot of tools here in the modify tab, a whole lot of tools. You have the rotate, you have the align tool, you have the split line, you have the trim, you have the trim and extend, you have the trim and extend multiple elements, you have the pin, you have the unpin, you have the line work, you have the selection box, you have the override graphics in view, you have the join, the cut, the cope, you have the paints. You have the paints also located here. You also have the demolish if you want to remove. You have a clipboard you can copy to and then paste from the clipboard here. So this is the clipboard tab. You can copy to clipboard and then you can paste what you've copied in the clipboard to another view or to current view or to any level you want. So with time you will get to actually see how to use all of these tools. You also have the offset to you have the delete, which is DL and shortcut here, the delete tool. You have the copy, you have the move, and a whole lot of tools here for you to use in the modify tab. So with time we will get to explore all of these user interfaces and every single thing you need to use in Autodesk Revit when you are actually modeling your work, so you will be very conversant with this. Please click the subscribe button to subscribe to our videos. You can equally click on the bell and the notification bar to get new videos when we release them. And then please click the subscribe bar to help me grow and equally to help you in your Revit knowledge and your skills for Autodesk Revit. See you in the next video. Peace.